What's going on, everyone? It's Marco Hanna from Phone Dog, and this is the ASUS ZenFone 2. We took a look at this earlier in the year at CES, but we finally have our own unit courtesy of ASUS. Now, this phone is pretty important because of two things. It's an unbelievably affordable global smartphone, and it's powered by a quad-core Intel Atom processor. Also, this one's in red, which makes it awesome. So let's dive into this unboxing and first impressions. The box here is pretty normal, and I actually found it fairly nice. Overall, a good presentation, but let's go ahead and open up the sleeve. Now, this reveals the ASUS ZenFone 2 sitting on top with a pull tab. Once we pull it up, we can take our first impressions of the retail version of the ZenFone 2. Overall, it feels pretty solid, yet fairly lightweight for a large device, but let's set this aside and take a look at what else comes inside the box. Now, underneath this divider, we will find a booklet containing many informations and facts about the ZenFone 2, and underneath that we will find the charger and USB to micro USB cable. Now that's fairly simple stuff. Now let's go back to the ZenFone 2. Now the plastic that's covering the ZenFone 2, we actually learn a few important things. Mainly, the biggest attraction is the inclusion of Intel's 64-bit Atom processor and Android 5.0 Lollipop. The dimensions of this phone are fairly large. It actually measures in at 6 inches tall, 3.04 inches wide, and a fairly thick 10.9 millimeters. That's thicker than the HTC One M9, but it doesn't sacrifice with its specs. Beginning with the display, it's a 5.5-inch 1080p IPS LCD panel with a little over 400 pixels per inch. Inside, it packs a quad-core Intel Atom chip that's clocked in at 2.3 GHz and 4 GB of RAM. Also, the internal storage can vary between 16, 32, and 64 GB variants. On the rear, we will find a 13-megapixel camera with an LED flash and your volume rockers. Now, the power switch still lives on top dead center. The feel in the hand isn't great, but it's fairly lightweight and very comfortable. And thanks to flat sides, the phone does actually have a decent grip and doesn't feel slippery at all. But the phone doesn't feel that appealing, especially from its generic looking front. The back definitely feels much nicer and complete than the front of a device. Now, booting up for the first time was actually pretty fast, and the setup was fairly easy. Mostly Google, but there is a bit of ASUS bloat. The software framework is Android 5.0 Lollipop, but it does have a brand new version of Zen UI. And to be fair but slightly blunt here, the bloatware featured on this phone is impressive in a bad way. It's filled to the brim, and only half of these applications and services could be uninstalled or disabled. But from first impressions, it seems that the Atom chip is right at home running things very smoothly, and with 4 GB of RAM on tap, things shouldn't lag or bog down. It's one seriously powerful device, and with this model retailing for $299, it's crazy good bang for buck. But I already found one problem. The ASUS ZenFone 2 appeared to be a rare breed of smartphones, ones with removable backs. But when you pop this sucker off, you are struck with a lot of plastic and no removable battery, which makes me ask the question, why make a phone that's thicker by adding a removable back cover but make the battery not user removable? But to not end on a bad note, this phone does feature two great things. One of them is a dual SIM slot, which means you can keep 2 SIM cards in this phone and swap what service you run on. Now, this may sound stupid to you, but it makes sense for people who travel to different locations several times a year. The second thing is it does have a micro SD card slot, which means you can buy the 16GB model and just plop in a micro SD card for more storage. Now, make sure to leave your comments and requests below in the comment section, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe to see more videos like this and our full review of the ZenFone 2. And as always, my name is Marco Hanna, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.